racing now. I wish I win from last. A spectacular TJ win. Giga kick down the outside, wins the Everest. Shinzo and Ryan Moore have drawn clear to win the Golden Slipper.
With Tim Gilbert and Julie Snook, this is Racing Dreams.
Hello and welcome to Racing Dreams, and I must admit I am so happy today because she's back, ladies and gentlemen. I felt so lonely for the past couple of weeks.
It is so
welcome home
to be
Jules.
back. It is so lovely to be back. I missed you. It's been a couple of weeks, which feels really strange on a weekend.
Been too long, Julie.
To not be with you, but we had an amazing time in New Zealand. For those that hopefully caught us, we're over in New Zealand for a few days, saw a few studs, and had an amazing time. I wasn't here last week, but feeling much better.
Oh, that's good. You've got some beautiful pictures. Of course, we'll show you those over the next couple of weeks from New Zealand.
Stay with us. We've got a big show coming up this morning. We catch up with the 2019 Golden Rose winner, the mighty Bivouac, who now stands at stud for Dali. Look at him there. Ooh.
Oh, magnificent. Shining the light on retired thoroughbred racehorses. We preview next week's inaugural Equimillion Equestrian event.
That's going to be sensational. And the filly tipped to break sales records. We are joined live by Team Winks to discuss the sale, her first foal at Easter.
This sports update is brought to you by Bet365, the world's favourite online betting brand.
What's gambling really costing you?
As always, we kick things off in the newsroom with our Daily Telegraph journalist, Shane O'Cass. Good morning, Shana.
Morning, Tim. Morning, Julie. Welcome back.
Thank you very much, Shane. Well, I tell you what, it has been a busy week of movement in terms of the Everest. We've had another contender confirmed overnight off the back of a couple of others during the week. So tell us what the latest is.
OK, well, there are now only 4 slots left in the Everest, so 8 horses have been selected. Private Eye was picked up last week after winning the shorts, and now, as you mentioned last night, Buenos Noches was added to the field, which is a great result. He could be the fairy tale horse of this year's Everest if he wins, because he was a $40,000 yearling. He's got 20 owners. They've all put in, obviously, $2,000 each. He's been trained by Matthew Smith and ridden by Dylan Gibbons, which is absolutely incredible. He's an apprentice. He only had his first win at Coffs Harbour in August in 2020, and now here he is. He's going to be riding in a $20 million race, so he'll handle the pressure. He's a terrific jockey. Matt Smith obviously wants somebody on the horse who can do the job, who knows the horse well, and Dylan Gibbons is perfect for that. So with Private Eye added, we've now got the trifecta from last year's Everest going to compete in this year's Everest, so that's Giga Kick, Private Eye and Marzu. So look, it's still a different field though, saying that, from what we had last year. Overpass will be the only other one, so we've got 4 horses from last year, 8 different ones, and look, it's a very open race this year. It wasn't looking that way when before Giga Kick's odd run first up, but now I suggest that every owner or slot holder thinks they can win the Everest.
Yeah, and as we know, we've found out the last couple of days, Giga Kick will go straight to the Everest. No premiere for Giga Kick, and Overpass, well, that was a flashing finish, and I know Björn Baker very happy. James Ross relieved, obviously, from the ATC that they've found their Everest slot.
Well, that's right. Overpass ran 6th in the race last year, so he obviously beat more horses than beat him. And he was a good horse, but he wasn't as good as he was this year. I mean, he's gone on to win the Quokka, and obviously you saw what he did last week. And as I mentioned last week, the thing about Overpass, his weapons are his speed and the fact that he can fight on when challenged. So, look, he again, you would think he's going to beat more horses than beat him home, and every horse you beat, the more money you earn. So I think he's a pretty good selection.
Jules, it's got the Augustus Gloop golden ticket thing about it, doesn't it? Every time I feel like there's 4 left, it's got that Willy Wonka element.
Yeah.
Who's going to get those final tickets?
I might just get them to roll the Everest graphic for us in studio now, if you don't mind, please, just so we can have a look at who has taken the slots.
Are we calling this the golden ticket?
The golden ticket. We've got Chris Waller Racing, Coolmore, who we'll speak with very shortly, Yulong Investments and Godolphin yet to make their move. Coolmore and Godolphin, you can probably know which direction they're going to go with. Chris Waller and Yulong still to make their move. And Ray Thomas reports in the Daily Telegraph this week too that the Everest is still on the cards for Osmosis, Shane.
Well, look, he's racing today at Rose Hill. He's a very fast horse. He's unbeaten. He's a bit like Overpass, actually. He's extremely quick, and he could run the time that would put him up towards the Everest. But I'd be looking out for a horse like Espiona today. I think she's the wild card for Chris Waller. She's a very good mare. She was outstanding in the Chiraco behind Sunshine in Paris. I mean, she was probably as good a run. Sunshine in Paris is in the Everest. So, look, Chris Waller's got a spot. He could sell it. He could wait till after the Premier. But if Espiona happens to run well today, I think she could be the wild card into the race.
And that's the thing we need to remember. Slot holders can sell. And we've seen it happen previously. So that can add an entirely new dynamic. October 14, that's fast approaching.
Oh, they can sell, or they can just choose to go with another horse outside their stable, because there's a lot of fast horses around, even if you look to Melbourne. But we're about to speak to Tom Magnier from Coolmore Shinzo today. That is going to be a very interesting Golden Rose. We've seen so many wonderful 3-year-olds come out of this race.
Well, I think Shinzo's the most interesting horse racing in Australia today, Timmy, because his last start was at Rose Hill and he won the Golden Slipper, and he hasn't raced since, and today's in the Golden Rose. So no colt has ever won the double, no horse has ever done it in the same year, and no horse has done it first up. So we're going to find out about Shinzo today. If he wins, I think he'll be in the Everest anyway, but if he happens to win today and then win the Everest, he would have won $12 million in 3 starts, and made himself probably the most expensive or likeable stadium prospect in the world. So there's a lot riding on Shinzo. He's got a bit of an awkward barrier, but he's got a world-class jockey there in Ryan Moore. So look, I think all eyes will be on Shinzo in the Golden Rose, and and what happens after that if he's going to be Coolmore's Everest horse.
Well, we will hear from Tom very shortly. But just on that, the international jockeys, it is so wonderful to have the likes of Ryan Moore and Joe Moreira both riding at Rose Hill and back here for the Spring Carnival, because, again, our borders are open. You can come on down, and we're going to have some of the jockeys returning from Hong Kong. It is just so wonderful to have these world-class riders right here in Sydney.
Well, it certainly is, Julie. I mean, Ryan Moore's ridden 2 Group 1 winners this month over in Ireland, and Joe Moreira is a frequent visitor to Australia. So it's great to have them, as you mentioned. I think Joe's 8 rides today. Ryan Moore's got 4. All of them could win, and then they'll obviously come back for the Everest. But look, throw in James McDonald when James comes back in a couple of weeks, and the possibility of jockeys like Hugh Bowman coming back. We've got, and don't worry about the horses, we're going to see the best jockeys in the world at this carnival.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, Jerry Harvey is a great friend of the show, watches it every week, has a big interest in Alligator Blood in the Underwood Group 1 racing in Melbourne. We're a bit done for time, but we do need a roughie, mate. you need to turn things around. You need to get the Queen Mary turning in the right direction. Can you get us a roughie? At least a place.
Thank you. Thanks for the rep. Look, I'm going to have to play it a little bit safer this week because I'm 0-3 at the moment. But I think Militarised will win the Golden Rose. He was absolutely fantastic first up in the run to the Rose. I thought he ran the best race out of those. Shinzo's an outstanding horsey stablemate, but I think Militarised, he's a winner of the 2 legs of the Triple Crown. I think he's ready to go. He's not a roughie, but I'm too scared, too scared to go for anything outside of about 5-1.
Oh, you're hedging your bets because you're quickly becoming the kiss of death. But look, great to have you on the show, buddy. We'll see you next week.
Maybe.
This sports update is brought to you by Bet365, the world's favourite online betting brand.
Chances are you're about to lose.
Well, it is Golden Rose Day at Rose Hill Gardens, and perhaps our next guest is happy to hear who Shane's tip was, given his form with the tipping at the moment. We are joined by Tom Magnier from Coolmore, Australia. Good morning to you, Tom.
Morning, guys. How are you getting on?
Very well, Tom. It's extraordinary, and Shane just extrapolated on it there, and I was obviously joking. Shane's got one of the great racing minds that there is. But Shinzo, to go from the Golden Slipper possibly to a Golden Rose into the Everest, you've got a very likeable type there, Tom. That's stating the obvious, I know.
He's a very exciting colt. What he did in the Golden Slipper was phenomenal. He's obviously got a great pedigree, so he already has that box ticked to go to stud. But now we're looking at his 3-year-old career. And when Ryan rode him, the one thing he got off him and said when he finished in the Golden Slipper, he said, this horse will be a much better 3-year-old than 2-year-old. So it's very different the approach that we're going with. We're going straight into we're going to the Golden Rose first up. I think that the weight for age issue was what didn't really suit us for the run to the Rose. So Chris seemed to be much happier to go this way. I heard someone saying, and that everyone's saying, no horse has done this, this, and this. He's got a bad barrier today. That's a big worry for us. We were very, very disappointed when we saw the barrier, but we believe that we've got a really, really good horse in our hands. I was delighted. Every time this horse has done a piece of work, I'd send it to Ryan Moore, and we'd discuss it. And he's loved this horse the whole way through. And we're obviously at the busiest part of the year in Europe at the moment, and obviously Ryan is Coolmore's jockey, and it just says a lot that in the middle of the European season, when racing's at its hottest, that Ryan was willing to get on an airplane and come down. As soon as I spoke to him, I said, "Look, James is injured," and he says, "What day do you want me down?" So it's a fair credit to Ryan Moore. He's very dedicated to this colt and his love for Australian racing.
So, Tom, is this colt your Everest runner, or does it depend on today?
It depends on today. We'll see how he goes. I want to see him run well, and we'll discuss it with Chris. But I'd say the likelihood is that this will be our horse for the Everest. But yeah, we'll learn a lot today. It's been a long time since he's been on the racetrack, but everybody at Wallers is very happy with him. But I'd be after the race. Obviously, I'll have a chat to Ryan, to Chris, and to all our partners in our colt syndicate, and just see what we think.
Tom, your family's one of the most famous in world racing. What about the Everest for you? Do you enjoy the process? I always make these analogies with Willy Wonka and the golden ticket, but it does have that little sense of magic in and around the edges of it, doesn't it?
I was explaining it to some people when I was up in America a couple of months ago. They were asking about this because they obviously had the Pegasus, which was initially the first concept of this. The Pegasus didn't really work in America, but Australia, Peter V'landys, they got it up, they got it running. And a race that's so early in its years, it is phenomenal how big it's become. It's the young people that they get there. It's the atmosphere. It's the build-up. Everybody feels like they're part of the Everest because, the discussions that happen before the race, everybody has, it's like the Premiership. It's like the drafting season in American football. Everybody has a view. Everybody has a say. And, we slot holders listen to that. And just the hype, I don't think that there's anything like it in the world. And we obviously were very fortunate to win the Everest with Yes, Yes, Yes as a 3-year-old. So we'd be probably trying it again with Home Affairs as a 3-year-old. But as races go, it is without doubt the most exciting race in the world.
Just quickly before we let you go, I want to talk about another very exciting topic that broke this week. Winx's foal, the filly out of Coolmore Stallion Piero and Champion Mare. Winx will go to auction at the Easter yearling sale next year. She'll be offered on day 2 of the sale. Tom, this could be a sale like nothing else.
Yeah, we're very fortunate, and we're going to be selling this animal. She's a lovely filly. By Piero out of Winx, and the owners have been great. It's very exciting to see what this horse can do. Obviously, we sold Winx herself at the sale, so I think that there's going to be everyone around the world is going to be having a look at this. Obviously, the pedigree, the type, and I think it's an enormous coup. To think that people can get together and buy a horse like this. I think the top racing people all over the world will be wanting to put this filly in their stable.
Have a great day at Rosehill Gardens today, Tom. We'll
Good luck.
probably see you out there, buddy.
Thanks very much, guys.
Thanks, Tom. Well, we've just been speaking about one, but there's some really exciting colts today in the Golden Rose, and there's been an honour roll of winners as well, Timmy.
One of my absolute favourites, Jules, 2019, it was the mighty Bivouac for Godolphin. He, of course, now stands at stud for Darley at their farm near Scone. So Bivouac, he's parading behind us, and he's now at stud. What an extraordinary racehorse, Alistair.
He was really good. He was a really good 2-year-old. He won the Lonhro Plate. That was his first significant win, but went on and won the Kindergarten Stakes on Championships Day 2. That was when we really thought we had something proper. Came back in the spring. He won the Vane first up. He smashed them at Caulfield. He won by 4 lengths. I think he's super impressive. We're getting bigger ideas then, and obviously he went on, won the Run to the Rose and the Golden Rose, beating Yes 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 on both occasions. Yes 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 came out and won the Everest at his next start. Then he came back as a 3-year-old and he won the Newmarket Handicap. So, really a high-class horse that stamped him as a star prospect of the future.
So will he be the next Exceed and Excel?
Well,
he's just like him.
He's just like him. He won the same races at the Newmarket as 3. He actually went on at 4. Exceed and Excel retired to stud, but Bivouac we decided to keep in training. He's such a beautifully calm horse. He was like that in training. Very easy horse to train. So we kept him in training, and he won the Sprint Classic down the straight at Flemington, and he blitzed Nature Strip that day. So he was awesome. That had him rated as the highest sprinter in the world, which is no mean feat.
Bivouac with a powerful display. Oh, what a spectacular win. Dominant 4 lengths Nature Strip Libertini.
Tell us a little bit more about some of the Exceed and Excels over the years, because that's 20 years. That's 2 decades.
Well, he started off, with obviously there's a high-class stallion to start off with, so he attracted a lot of good mares. His first crop, he came out blazing. He won. He quineled both divisions of the Blue Diamond Preview in his year, so we thought, whoa, this is pretty exciting. Second crop, he got the Blue Diamond winner. Then he got Overreach, who won the Golden Slipper, and it's just gone up and up from then. But this is probably his best crop because he got 3 smashing colts. So he got Bivouac, who's a really good horse, probably the best of them all. Microphone, who was actually the champion 2-year-old in that year, and Exceedance, who won the Coolmore Stud Stakes and stands over at Vinery. So it was a really, really proper crop.
So we're up close here, and look, for me, I love horses, but I couldn't tell you about their physiology. Why, when we look at him, is he such a likeable type?
Well, probably got to look at the balance of the whole horse, but to split him up, he's got a beautiful head. He's got a head very much probably like his grandsire Danehill even. But he's like Exceed and Excel, his father. He's like his grandfather Danehill. He's very much like Danehill through the head and through that neck. Nice lengthy sprinter type. He's got plenty of groom underneath him, plenty of heart room. He's got a terrific hind quarter, really strong, powerful, athletic back leg. He's going to be able to get that back leg underneath him and push off, and he's just an athlete.
Well, we've had a look at the mighty Bivouac, of course, in the next phase of his career at stud at Kelvinside at Darley. And we've travelled down the road to another farm, another beautiful, beautiful property. It's called Woodlands, and another part of the Bivouac story, because Bivouac is by Exceed and Excel, out of Dazzler. And with that, I'd like to welcome in John Sunderland, the farm manager here at Woodlands. And there's Dazzler. Dazzler is about to be a mum again.
Yeah, no, it's great. She's due. She's actually a bit overdue, so we're pretty excited about that. But the exciting thing for us, team, is obviously Dazzler was born and raised here as well, raced within the Godolphin system. And, she's now the mother of Bivouac, who's also born and raised within the Godolphin farms. And, hopefully about to have another one. So it's exciting.
And this is where it all began for Bivouac. So what would have life been like in those days where
well, we can go back. I mean, at one stage he was in the tummy just like his expected sibling is happening. So born and raised here, and then sort of lived in the paddocks here up to about 18 months of age. And at that stage, then going from all the way from like a school sort of into primary school, then into secondary school, and then on to university. And university is basically where they start to learn how to be racehorses. So they live here until they're 18 months of age, and then move up to the farm at Kelvinside to get broken in, and then ultimately go into the racing system.
Well, this really is the fields of dreams here at Woodlands when you think about it. Animo grew up here, Bivouac grew up here, Cylinder grew up here, and this filly here, half sister to Cylinder, by Bivouac, John. There's a few bugs around, but that's all part of the farm life.
Yeah. Exciting prospect. I mean, as you say, they're all just growing, so these girls are just living out here at the moment, getting ready. This time next year they'll be broken in and getting ready to race, but this, an exciting filly here by Bivouac. She's got everything. She's got the pedigree, and she's actually the number one. Well, I mean, it's easy to say at this point in time. We'll see what happens when she starts racing, but she's just a beautiful, lovely athletic filly. So everything's pointing that she will be a very fast, sharp, precocious 2-year-old, which will be great for the stallion because, that's what we're sort of hoping he can produce.
Welcome back. You are watching Racing Dreams, and I tell you what, Timmy, our next guest is sitting in a very different position than he was this time last year as we head towards Everest.
Held his cards close to his chest, James Harron, because Giga Kick was a decision at the last minute. What a decision it was. James, how are you, my dear friend?
Yeah, good morning, Tim. Good morning, Julie.
Well, speaking of Giga Kick, also a very different program from him this campaign as well. Tell us the latest, because he now goes straight into the Everest.
Yeah, Julie, he obviously had a run in Moonee Valley, which didn't quite go to plan. That's been well documented. The owners and trainer have just decided to just give him that little bit of time to get over that run. Yep. And so he'll bypass the Premier, which was the original plan, and go straight into the Everest. So we've got plenty of time up their sleeve. He'll probably have a trial in Ramwick leading into that race. And looking forward to the big day.
It was always going to be difficult at Moonee Valley for him. James McDonald's on board, of course. We know that story with Craig Williams gone. But what a focus it was on Monday. The place was just a buzz with all these magnificent 2-year-olds ahead of the Breeders' Plate next week. What was it like? You were there.
Yeah, Tim, it's always a really exciting time of the year. Huge focus on those 2-year-old trials at Ramwick. Of course, rightly so too, because there's been graduates such as Snitzel, Sebring, Pirata, Fastnet Rock, of course, our very own capitalist, graduate through these trials and go on to some fantastic things. And of course, mentioning some of Australia's leading stallions in that group. So it was a wonderful morning and nice to have a few step out and give a nice positive feel.
We'll talk about those in just a moment, but just, I suppose, explain to us also the process, what they're aiming towards for next week, the significance of what we saw this week.
Yeah, so, these trials are used as a qualification criteria for the Breeders' Plate and the Gimcrack, which are the first stakes races of the year in New South Wales. And like I said before, I've carried wonderful graduates through into great success. So it's also an opportunity to see the first season stallions having their first runners step out and give breeders a bit of an opportunity to see them stretch their legs and showcase themselves.
Yeah, there's Highness and Gravitas. That was trial 5. What about Fearless? Fearless and Customised. Is Fearless the pick? I mean, you're talking some quality young horses here.
Yeah, look, it was a really strong morning for us. We had obviously 6 colts step out for our colt partnership. And Fearless showed wonderful sort of skill in terms of racing. He came back in the run. He wasn't and was able to hunt down and come over the top and win his heat and show really good news. So he was very pleasing. He's obviously by Pirata, who's a first season stallion. He came from the English Classic sale and he's pulled up well. And all things being equal, will take his place in the Breeders' Plate Saturday week.
They are babies at the end of the day. They're very much learning their craft. What are you looking for at this stage with the 2-year-olds? Yeah,
look, it's really important. They've obviously, come through an education process, and this is part of that education. It's the first time they've really been allowed to be into that pressure environment and really stretch their legs and being asked to go to the line at a higher speed. So you're looking for them to handle that occasion well. You're looking for them to lengthen and most importantly, come through the trial in good order, both mentally and physically, which gives you the idea that they can then progress forward. So of the 6 that we trialled, 4 of them will take through to the races. The other 2 will have a short break, and those 4 will be seen out in the track in the next, couple of weeks.
Look, I always say it. I think that there's no sport quite like horse racing for the richness and wonder of storytelling and the way the stories propel on themselves. We just had that great story of Bivouac, of course. We remember Bivouac as a 2-year-old, then went on to be a mighty racehorse, now standing at start. It just turns over fantastically well, doesn't it? Like the stories themselves.
It does, and it's a wonderful industry which it doesn't stop. It's one big circle. We're getting these babies out and running now, and you'll see those back just in a year's time, lining up for a golden rose. So it is great to see where they can kick off from and where they can get to, and Monday was that first indication of that.
Well, today Butch Cassidy runs in the Golden Rose.
You'll be partying if Butch Cassidy gets home, bro.
Yeah, Jura will be alive, Tim. Look, he's been a really consistent horse for us. He's come through had a really good preparation. It's a very competitive race this year. It's a very deep race, but he's been thereabouts. He's only been a couple of lengths from winning these lead-ups. Stepped up to 1400 will certainly suit, and look, we're going in hoping he's a good place chance. It's obviously a very deep race, but horse as well, trainer's happy, and fingers are crossed.
Anything else to look forward to in the spring? Something that just you have in your back pocket that people can have a look out for throughout the course of the spring, James? Particular horse?
I think 2-year-olds aside, I think keep an eye on Fearless and Espionage and the Breeders' Plate. I think going forward a week ahead, we'll have a horse called Mexico step out. He ran a nice race in Melbourne. He's coming back. He'll either run in the Roman Consul or the Danehill Stakes at Flemington. So keep an eye on him. He's a nice progressive colt, and we've got nice hopes for him.
James, always lovely to see you. Thank you so much for coming in. And of course, I'm sure we'll be in touch with you as the weeks go on. Not long now until the big one, October 14th.
Absolutely look forward to it. Thank you.
See you at Rosehill Gardens, and I'll be part of the party if Butch Cassidy.
I bet.
Cheers, Tim.
Thanks, James.
All right, well, next weekend marks the inaugural Equimillion event here in Sydney, showcasing the versatility and suitability of thoroughbreds for careers outside of racing.
It's $1 million concept to showcase retired thoroughbred racehorses across eventing, show jumping and dressaging. I can see my wife smiling at home.
Yeah,
we caught up with Ambassador Bianca Argus and her thoroughbred
Cruise.
This is my horse Cruise. He is a 17-year-old off-the-track thoroughbred trained by Danny Williams up in Goulburn, and he came to me as a eventer, but we've mostly dabbled in show jumping, and he's been absolutely wonderful. I feel truly honoured to have worked with him. I think it's super important to have events like Equimillion to really showcase and highlight just what an off-the-track thoroughbred can do. There's quite a bit of a stereotype around ex-race horses and what happens to them, where they go, and here we are as riders across the nation just really, I guess, wanting to showcase the public that they are loved. They go on to have some amazing careers, whether it be in eventing, show horse, show jumping, dressage, and they are just truly loved by that next stage of their lives by the riders. Good boy. Cruz and I are very excited for Equimillion. We're excited to be amongst amazing talent between riders as well as horses out there at the event. Equimillion is going to be a competition unlike any other. We've got horses coming all over the state, coming in to compete at Sydney International Equestrian Centre, and we've got incredible prize money that goes all the way down to 6th place. So it really motivates the rider to get out and about, showcase the talent of an off-the-track thoroughbred or a retired racehorse. The prize money in Equimillion is something that we haven't seen before in a typical regular competition in the equestrian industry here. I think it's a real motivator for young riders or all riders in general. We see some coming from even interstate to be competing. It is going to be a weekend not to be missed between talented riders on show as well as amazing horses that have come off the track. It's going to be just superb in terms of talent and just getting amongst the community. It's just so nice to be able to connect with others in the industry and to really relate with others. It's a beautiful thing. So we're all in there for one reason only, and that is really just to showcase these beautiful animals, and we just couldn't be more excited to be amongst it, meet other new faces and horses. This is a beautiful way to show them off and really come together as a community for the love of the horse, really.
Welcome back to Racing Dreams. Well, the whole of the industry is a hive of activity this time of year, of course. Love the spring. Here we are at Royal Randwick in the ballroom, part of the ballroom, and we're at a Business of Racing breakfast. Now, it's a new initiative from the Australian Turf Club called ATC Business Connects. And it's doing that. It's just bringing people together in this wonderful, wonderful industry. And I'd like to welcome to Racing Dreams the General Manager of Partnerships here at the Australian Turf Club, Scott Kennedy. How are you?
Well, thanks, Tim. Thanks for having us.
Well, it's great to have you on the show. And look, it's great to be at a breakfast like this. We've got many captains of this industry having some panel conversations. But just tell me, in your words, what's ATC Business Connect all about?
So ATC Business Connect is our new B2B structured networking program. So it's an annual program of events. Companies sign up as members, and it really sits outside of our core racing program, but allows these companies to leverage the industry, build relationships, and ultimately just do business with each other.
Absolutely, and it's great to peel back the surface or peel back the outer coating of this industry, because it's so rich in storytelling, isn't it? There's so many wonderful stories to be told in horse racing, and we're also time poor. Trying to get together is hard.
It certainly is, yeah. I mean, that's one of the things I love about this industry, the people you meet coming from all walks of life, the stories around the thoroughbred themselves, but also the business stories in the industry. And I don't think there's any other sport on the planet where you could meet as many people as you do in racing across a broad range of industries, from CEOs and chairmen of listed companies through to small business owners, through to sports stars, media personalities. It's such a great industry bringing everyone together.
And we've got a collection of people that do business with say Australian Turf Club and Racing New South Wales right at the moment throughout the course of the racing calendar, and potentially new people, new business people to this industry.
Yeah, definitely, Tim. So we obviously do a business with a lot of companies, over 22,000 here at the ATC, across our hospitality, our suppliers, our meetings and events business, and our commercial partners. Business Connect is another platform that'll help us attract new businesses into racing, providing a tangible return on their investment where they can meet other like-minded business owners and influencers and leaders in those companies, do business, and hopefully everyone wins at the end of the day.
Oh, absolutely, wins, maybe even $2 each way on something. But it's a lot of fun as well. I know we've got a function for the grand finals coming up where it's going to be at the races midweek. People have the opportunity to enjoy the races and continue to connect, and they'll hear from other sports stars.
Yeah, exactly. So we've got a lot of structured networking events like the one this morning, and then next week our NRL Grand Final and Racing Lunch is more of a social networking type of event where we enjoy the live racing on the day. We have a panel of NRL speakers, industry people, mostly trainers, and everyone can invite their clients along and just enjoy the day and around the racing program as well.
Finally, you and I love it. It is just great fun, isn't it? I mean, that's the thing. If you spend a little bit of time in this industry, you realise that those involved love the horse to start with, and it's just a lot of fun.
It certainly is, and what I love about the industry, we have 9 half times every race day, so it gives you that opportunity to engage with your friends, your family, or your clients. It's wonderful.
Yeah, and the post-season celebration happens every day. Thanks, Scotty.
Thanks, Tim. Cheers.
And as I always say, disclosing, I do a lot of work for the Australian Turf Club. It is an interesting initiative, though, isn't it, bringing businesses together? And I like that whole idea of the 9 half times. Yeah, absolutely. And it's really good to, just looking at those pictures as well, to see so many young faces as well. It's you've got the ones that have been involved for a very long time, but to see some new, fresh faces coming through is great. Absolutely.
All right, well, come April 8 of next year, 2024, history will be made at the Inglis Easter yearling sales because the first foal of champion mare Winx will go for public auction in what could be the most significant individual yearling to ever be offered for sale in the Southern Hemisphere.
And one of the Brisbane Broncos' #1 supporters, Peter Tighe, is also owner of Winx. Pete, how are you?
Yeah, good morning, Jules. Good morning, Tim.
Pete, of all the outfits to wear today?
Well, it's the only one to wear today.
Well, yeah, of course, for those outside the jurisdiction or rugby league world that New Zealand Warriors take on Peter's mighty Brisbane Broncos tonight at 7:50 for a place in the grand final. So we might talk about that a little later on once it's done and dusted. But what about this? Winx, she still knows how to get a headline.
Yeah, no, we're very happy with the announcement and what's going on. So, next April is going to be quite a big month for horse racing.
Pete, it can't have been an easy decision to make. You've been on such a journey with this mare. Talk us through the decision and how you came to it.
Well, it's not my decision alone. I mean, the ownership group has had 12 months to mull over what they'd like to do, and we've gone from definitely keeping it to definitely selling it to not knowing what to do to just trying to do the right thing. And we spent a lot of time and we've had several meetings and we've taken advice, so we've done everything we can to try to do the right thing. So we believe we're setting the foal to market, and it gives everyone the opportunity to be able to enjoy a story with Winx and her offspring, because hopefully it's not going to be the last foal, and we can breed on and have some more foals as the years go on.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's the thing I love about it, because Racing Dreams emerged 5 years ago and it was new for us, and Winx was in the middle of all those wins, so we've been along the journey. But this is you guys sort of opening it up. Like, it's going to be a very expensive price tag, but it opens it up to those outside of the ownership group.
Well, it does. It opens up to the world market, and I mean, we're not sure who's going to buy her, obviously, but it gives everyone the opportunity. I mean, we'd be happy to stay in and take a stake if it's available. I'm sure Debbie and the Tariq family are looking at doing that as well.
Pete, we've been looking at some images of the filly. Can you just tell us about her? What's she like?
Yeah, look, she's a real, she's got a personality all of her own. She's different to her mum. In looks, she's very close to her mum, but in personality, she's a friendly, very inquisitive little filly. She's certainly not frightened to come over and say hello and see what it's all about when you go to visit her at the farm. She's always had certain characteristics that are standalone, but she's certainly very well looked after, and her mother's made sure that she's very well educated.
Peter, I was up with the great John Massara the other day. We were sitting down having a chat, and it was that week, it was just a couple of days later, that Winx was going to Schnitzel. So talk about royalty.
Yeah, no, a new son-in-law for us all. We're very happy that Winx is going to see Schnitzel, and just hopefully it goes all right and she falls pregnant, and we can have another happy, healthy foal in 12 months' time.
How has she been as a mum? How is Winx?
Yeah, look, she's a great mum. She has looked after the foal from day one. They've never had any problems at all. I mean, Winx, like, she's as close to a human horse as you'd get. I mean, she does everything that you'd expect her to do. Never any questions asked, never has any problems. She took to motherhood like she did to racing, and great racehorse, great mum, great everything. So she's sort of like a horse that you never have to worry about her.
She's beautiful,
good, doesn't
beautiful.
she?
Finally, you won the Everest with Yes, Yes, Yes. You're part of the Chris Waller slot. Are you guys any closer to working out who you're going to go with?
Well, it depends what day of the week we talk. We get close, we have a chat. We've spoken to several of the ownership groups, and trying to nut out a deal and pick the right horse. So we've had a few meetings this week, and we're very interested to see what happens today, obviously. But time is ticking, and we need to put our name beside a horse shortly. So I think early to mid next week, we should have some information, and hopefully we're making the right choice.
All right, Pete. Well, it is a pleasure to see you. Always lovely to chat to you. Thank you so much for your time. Congrats to you and the team on making this decision. All eyes will be on Inglis come April 8. It's going to be incredible.
Yeah, and go the Broncos.
Yes, I was waiting for that. I was waiting for that.
Say up the wires?
No,
Is that my chance?
no, you enjoyed it. It's going to be an absolute cracker up the wires. She's just back from New Zealand. Stay with us after the break. Brad, the male model from Miranda.
He is back for his best bets for Golden Rose Day at Rosehill Gardens. Welcome back. You're watching Racing Dreams. I forgot how this goes.
Oh, you tell you what, you picked it up quick. A male model from Miranda, ladies and gentlemen. Sky Racing's Brad Gray. And he's still jumping up and down after last week picking the roughie. Tell us what you did. Come on, tell us what you did. Tell us what the price was.
We're only looking forward, Tim, not backwards.
No, but you've got your...
But Osbred Flirt,
You remembered quick enough.
She did a sprout.
Osbred Flirt, I think it was about $14.50.
I appreciate the little text there as well. Obviously, you're up nice and late. Yes.
My dad will be very, very happy because my dad likes a roughie and he always keeps me in check with what you're tipping there, Brad. So, no pressure. Mr. Snook is watching.
There you go. Hopefully you're getting a sling from him as well. Maybe a little cut there for the daughter.
Yeah, no chance. Anyway, moving on. Today's Golden Rose Day at Rosehill Gardens.
Isn't it what? Yeah, and it's one of the more open Golden Roses that I can remember, certainly in recent years. You've only got to look at the market to see that. So it's pretty much, as I dropped my paper there, it's pretty much $4 the field. So you look at the top two in the market, you've got Shinzo on top. Now, no horse has ever won the Golden Rose first up, yet here's Shinzo, first up from a Golden Slipper, so he creates plenty of interest. You've got Charm Stone in the market. It's a race that fillies don't necessarily have a great record in, so there's so many mixed opinions out there. I've gone one with a bit of odds here, guys. So I've gone with NCAP for Gary Portelli and Dylan Gibbons. Now, I know you can look at the Ming Dynasty, and there's a lot of people out there that will probably say, well, maybe that's the B-grade form, and typically it is. However, I think this is the year that he can take advantage of maybe the fact that it is an open race. He was a good winner there last start. There was big margins back throughout the field, and more significantly, he ran really fast time. So you compare the time that he ran that day compared to the recent Golden Rose winners, and it stacks right up. So he should get his chance there, just in behind the speed, and we know that he runs a strong 1,400 metres. So, yep, in a race with plenty of chances, have something each way on NCAP for Gary Portelli.
What else are you thinking today? There's Golden Pendant, Shannon Stakes.
Yeah, there's a lot of features across the card, isn't there? So the Heritage is another one that we can touch on. 1,100 metres, speedy 3-year-olds. Home Affairs came out and made a statement in this race a couple of years ago, and he went on to be competitive in an Everest before winning at Coolmore. So I'm with Royal Tribute for Gabe Waterhouse and Adrian Bott. I think he's got the fitness jump on Osmosis, so these are pretty two sharp colts going forward. But Rosehill, 1,100 metres, you typically want to bang yourself out, put yourself right on top of the speed and prove hard to catch. He fits that profile. The Colin Stevens for the Stayers, Al Abir, trained by Chris Waller. Nice sense of timing about him today. Fourth up, 2,400 metres. That's his best trip. And the Golden Pendant, it's a bit of a Chris Waller-a-thon, this race. So the top three in the market, all trained by Chris Waller. But I'm with the favourite, Espiona. I know she's got this horrible racing pattern of getting back in the field, and you'll watch her when she sprints. She wants to get ahead on the side, but she's a mare with some talent, and I do like the booking of Nasruella. So there are your features. Best bet, we'll go with Vienna Princess. She is first up today, but 1,400 metres, quiet trial. I like the progression that she made last preparation. So all throughout today's meeting at Rosehill, there's a lot of horses that are well found in the market. So at around $7, I'm going to put Vienna Princess as our best bet, and a couple of roughies. We'll see if we can go back to back in terms of what happened last week with Osbred Flirt. But race 7, New Mandate. He's in the Shannon Stakes. He's also trained by Chris Waller. And the Magic Man, Jao Moreira, will ride him from the inside barrier. I think he's a big improver. And race 10, Rain Beal. A sneaky run there first up, where she was particularly sharp through the line. So keep her in mind for the lucky last.
Timmy's very busy here with the shorthand, making notes of all those tips there. Brad, of course, a busy week in terms of the Everest, a bit more movement, 4 slots remaining. We've heard from Tom Magny this morning saying Shinzo is likely to be their Everest runner for Coolmore, but depends on today. We've also just heard from Peter Ty saying hopefully early next week the Chris Waller slot will have something for us. It's the busy end of the Everest campaign, isn't it?
Yeah, it was always going to climax, wasn't it? So we're running out of time now for those slot holders that were playing the patient game, the waiting game. We saw ATC announce Overpass, so he'll get out on top of the speed and probably lead the Everest field up. Tabcorp went with Buenos Nochos. What does that leave us? Yep, Shinzo has still got to be locked away there for Coolmore. If he comes out and makes a Golden Rose statement, he's a big player. We know that the 3-year-olds have a fantastic record in the Tab Everest. And then you've got the Chris Waller slot, just waiting, biding their time. They might be the last ones waiting, and they'll get last crack if a horse comes through the Premier Stakes next week. They'll be there ready to pounce. So it's starting to take shape, albeit there's still a few pieces of the puzzle just yet.
Yeah, Godolphin there within Secret or Cylinder. Yep, it's coming together. Have a great day racing. I hope you have some winners, because I'm going to have something on each of those. Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Be responsible.
Yep.
Yeah, fingers crossed, guys. I hope your handwriting's better than mine, though, and you can read it back, because sometimes I look at my notes and I don't know what they say. So
just as long as I got my glasses on. Good on you. There he is, Brad Gray.
Brad, and always thank you to our great sponsors of the show. Of course, we wouldn't be here each week without them. We're very much looking forward to the rest of the campaign, Timmy. I, of course, as you can see at the bottom there, did visit New Zealand, and I brought you, look, I was meant to bring you back some bottles.
Oh.
They didn't make it. So Trelawney is where we stayed. Trelawney Stud, the wonderful team there. Brent and Cherry looked after us. We saw some beautiful, beautiful studs over the course of the few days. We'll be rolling those stories out of the coming weeks. But there you go, a little keepsake. Don't say I don't think of you.
No, thank you. Good golf.
I don't see any charcuterie board making its way home from America.
I'll do that. See you next week.
Bye, guys.
Thanks, Jules.